So it was done all overnight in the matter of 8 or 9 days, but it's paying off. Hard work. There's no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute to being persistent, and nothing could take away from that.
Welcome to Hustle Share, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Yong.
Welcome to episode 26 of the Hustle Share podcast. My name is Ronster, and I'm your host. And this episode is brought to you by Payroll Hero, a time, attendance, scheduling, HR, and payroll solution for Philippine companies. If you're new to the show, welcome on board because you're about to learn something extraordinary today because this episode is extra special. However, I'd like to remind you that this episode has profanity in it, so if there's kids listening with you, please make sure that they're not about to listen to the cuss words that we're about to unleash. Because today we're going to be talking to someone who's extraordinary, to say the least, because he is the founder of two apps that have reached 80 million users in total. And I'm talking about Mr. Prashant Pitti, the founder of Profoundly and Near Group. And today is going to be one of those episodes that you're just going to be completely blown away about this guy's hustle. Because today he's going to be sharing a lot about how he built these two apps that a lot of Filipinos are addicted to using. But before that, he's going to share with us how he began his journey as a student in India's most prestigious school and how he became an assistant vice president at a young age of 23 in a bank in the United States. Also, he's going to be sharing with us why he decided to move back to India to pursue his entrepreneurial journey. And there he's going to be also sharing the two startups he had to launch prior to his two mega hits that we are about to feature now. With the first being Near Group, where he was able to grow that to 20 million users in 2 years without spending anything on marketing. And the second being Profoundly, where he was able to reach 60 million users in just 3 months. And Prashant was extra generous because he's going to share his tips on how to build product that scale, his advice to people that are putting up a startup, and most importantly, he's going to reveal the real answer if Profoundly will actually reveal the identity of people who ask questions in the platform. So I hope you're taking down notes because you're going to be learning a lot in this episode. So if you're ready to learn the hustle behind Profoundly and Near Group, let's begin this episode right now. Welcome to the latest episode of Hustle Share. It's a very special episode because we have on the show today someone who has the Midas touch in creating super duper viral apps. And you don't even know it. You're probably using one of these now, and you've used it, and you don't even know. So we're talking about this app called Profoundly. Everybody's using it, and the reason I found out about it is because my employees pay it a lot. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? And it's like, Profoundly. And then I checked it out. Apparently, when I looked it up, it's the people that built Near Group. And today, we're going to be talking to the founder to discover the hustle behind Near Group and Profoundly, Mr. Prashant Pitti. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show, Prashant.
Thank you so much.
So we're lucky because Prashant, I've been bugging this guy for a few weeks now, and all of a sudden he tells me, yo, I'm in the Philippines. I was like, wow, okay, I got to see you. Oh, so just a little bit of backstory. I met Prashant last year in Echelon, this big conference that's happening around this week as well. Last year, we saw his booth like, dude, I know these guys because Near Group was such a big thing, and it's also in the Messenger game. But I'll shut up now and ask you what it is. But Prashant, what's your hustle?
So guys, we are running two apps on Facebook.
Okay.
And we have also built an independent app now.
Okay.
So one is called as Near Group.
Okay.
And the other one is called as Profoundly.
Okay.
And apparently both of them picked up really well in Philippines.
Dude, viral city. People love their Facebook. But just to shed light for those people who don't know what near group and profoundly, can you define each and what they do?
Of course. So near group basically is a chatbot which allows you to meet people nearby in a very fun and interesting way.
Okay.
So the way near group functions is very, very different than other dating apps which you might have known or heard of, like Tinder. It's completely opposite.
Okay.
So at near group, things do not begin with images. The motto of near group is that we really believe humans are more than images.
Absolutely, right?
So-
Because you can't be. Everybody doesn't have a picture game, and you know how
Absolutely.
catfishers always catfish people with their images.
And anyways, images are edited these days.
Right.
Most of the images are edited or filtered. People
Absolutely.
put their younger selves.
Right,
People-
and now there's a Snapchat filter that makes you like a girl or a boy. It's like, what the hell? Right? Technology is crazy, especially in the imaging side. So this eliminates that, and you do it on the other way around. How do you do that?
So the way near group functions is you basically tell us your preferences over the chatbot.
Okay.
We ask you a bunch of questions, and on the basis of those bunch of questions, we basically connect you directly to chat with somebody who's nearby you.
Nearby, so proximity is the big thing here.
It's a proximity and our recommendation engine depending on your preferences. We
Wow.
connect you to somebody. Now, in the beginning, you both start chatting. You don't see each other's images. However, if both of you continue the conversation and chat long enough, you
see.
finally see each other's images and profile.
Just like magic, you gotta earn it.
You gotta earn it. So you can either of the parties can disconnect anytime they want.
Okay.
However, if they're enjoying the conversation,
Okay.
they continue the chat, and once they
Wow.
chat long enough, the images and the profile appear, and then thereafter, you're just two people.
Absolutely, and that's great. And the reason, again, I remember now why when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, it's near group. Because I know by default, you're probably one of the biggest chatbots in the world, if not the biggest. So I knew the volumes. Like, fuck, these guys are doing. By the way, we can cuss, so you can just don't worry. This is there's a lot of I mean, nobody controls this shit, so it's all good. But for profoundly, what is it? Is it a spin-off of Near Group, or is it something that's completely unique?
So Profoundly actually is an inspiration from Near Group.
Got it.
So Near Group allows you to chat anonymously in the beginning with people nearby for dating purposes, right? So we had a thought that it's not just the dating which is a use case, but people are using Near Group for dating use cases. So we thought that how about we let people chat anonymously with their Facebook friends,
Oh, so those people that you're already connected with.
right? So there was so that there's more meat and more substance in the conversation.
Got it.
We couldn't do it over Near Group because Near Group primarily is a dating app. So
Okay.
we had to create a separate brand to run this experiment. And just to share, it was a very, very humble beginning where we did not expect much. It was just an experiment to see how and where it would lead.
But
But
reality is, like, again, whatever numbers you can share.
yes.
When I met you, you were talking about millions of users in Near Group. Can you share at least how many users are using this? And at least in the Philippine setting, how many Filipinos are hooked to this for both apps?
So Near Group, we have crossed 20 million users.
20 million.
Worldwide, of which I would say around 15 million are from Philippines.
Oh my God.
So, and if you're talking about the age range between 16 to 26, that means 1 out of 3 people between age 16 to 26
Are
in
chatting.
Philippines have used Near Group. So, and
Oh,
it's still
man.
growing. I mean, we are still gaining 1 million new user per month, and it's all viral. We don't spend money on marketing.
Oh my God.
So-
Till now, last year you told me the same thing, and you haven't.
We don't-
Virality in Philippines is known for this.
Yeah.
For for Profoundly though, what are the numbers you're talking about?
Even more crazier.
Okay.
So Near Group took its suite 2.5 years to reach to 20 million users.
Right.
We started Profoundly in February of 2019,
Oh, just this year.
just this year.
Yeah, that's why Sonya's like, what the hell are you guys doing? I'm asking my employees. Right.
February 2019 we started Profoundly.
Okay.
And by the first May of 2019, which is in 3 months,
3 months.
we crossed worldwide 60 million users
60 fucking million users.
in 3 months.
30. Wow.
So
20 million per month.
So basically, in the last few days, we were getting 3 million new users per day.
That's crazy. And then that's what wanted to ask, like whatever you can share to those people, because I mean everybody in the startup world always has this dream, like, you know what, I'm gonna create this next whatever hit app. It's hard to do it. I've tried it with a niche product before in nightlife, but for you to do it not just once but twice with crazier numbers, that's crazy. But before we dissect that, and on our second part, let's ride the hustle share time machine real quick. You drive, I ride shotgun, doesn't matter. But what's your journey like, Prashant? How did you start to become a startup founder? Was this your first startup before? What was your journey like?
No, this is not my first startup.
Okay.
They say it's, people might say it's an overnight success, but I can see a decade before this. So I graduated from one of the most premier colleges in India.
Okay. Which is?
IIT.
Okay.
Basically, every year around 3 million people write the exam.
Wow.
And they take around 5,000, 6,000 of the 3 million.
Wow.
So it's the toughest exam in the world.
In the world?
In the world. Even more tougher than the Harvard or the MITs, because the acceptance ratio is the lowest.
Got it. So it's really creme de la creme of all the things.
So it's the topmost engineering college in India. I scored 350 rank out of 3 million people.
What?
That's
crazy. Holy crap.
So yeah, I mean.
And you took up what? What were you taking up in college to get this?
Electronic engineering.
Electronics. And so if you're not just electronic, you're one of the best pupils or prospects out there for you to do that. Then how did your entrepreneurial journey start? I mean, as an engineer.
So as soon as I graduated, I was hired by a bank in the United States. So my first job was in the I graduated from India, but my first job was in US.
Wow.
So I worked as a risk analyst for Capital One, and then I moved to HSBC as assistant vice president over there.
Okay.
So for the first 3 years,
right away, as an assistant vice president.
Yes. So I got 4 jumps in 3 years.
How? Wow. Okay, this is crazy already. Because on a corporate ladder, right? You take it one step at a time, and every single step you eat shit. I mean, you get so much shit. But I mean, from a corporate standpoint, for you to jump that high, what happened there for you to jump from a fresh grad in a first job and then for HSBC AVP?
That would be another episode altogether.
Okay, but just give us a hint. How do you do it for those people who are in corporate right now?
It was just I love maths, and that was my job, to just eat the numbers and throw something meaningful out of it. And it was something which I loved, and I really, really enjoyed doing it. So for me, it came pretty naturally, which I could see a few people around, it wasn't coming very naturally for them.
Yeah.
So I was just enjoying my job, and during the process, I got recognition. That's how I'd say.
So now you're AVP. What's the next step for you?
So next step is basically, I never wanted to be in US for longer. It was just a stepping stone for me.
Got it.
I knew it from day one that I would want to return back to India to start my entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
There wasn't a way for me to start a company in the United States that time. So I quit my job and moved back to India to start my hustle.
Clean slate.
Clean slate. So it was
Wasn't that scary? Because this is where a lot of people get scared. When how young were you during this time? Because a lot of people always like, I can't leave the cushion of my job. And if it's a young AVP, it can be quite like, oh my God, I'm pretty set right now.
I was 23 that time.
22.
23.
23 AVP. Oh my God.
I was probably the youngest AVP in the.
Wow.
So I graduated at the age of 20, and 20 I started working, and by 23 I basically quit my job and moved back to India. I'd be lying if I say it wasn't scary. Yes, I did feel a lot of uncomfortableness in that decision. Not just me, the family too.
Right.
But it was just a natural calling. I knew that I could not survive the corporate world for longer than that.
Yeah.
And the matter of the fact that it was always on my mind is basically I never applied for green card. I was on H1B visa. So I knew from day one I could have applied for green card, but I just knew it that there's no point doing it because I have to go back. It's just a matter of time.
Got it.
And the decision was basically taken on the basis where, if not now, it's not going to be ever. I would just get too comfortable with life.
Yes, exactly.
So
right.
You don't want to do that. And I knew that these are the times when I can fail and make mistakes and be okay with it.
Right.
If I try to do this later in part of my life, I might be paying back. So I just took a call.
That is great. Now, what's your first business that you tried as an entrepreneur?
So I wanted to do something good for the society alongside making money.
Okay.
So I had a very, very strong calling towards doing something in sports and fitness. Sports and fitness within India.
Okay.
So my first startup was called as India Khelo, IndiaKhelo.com.
Okay.
Khelo means play, IndiaPlay.com. You could say that.
Okay.
So what it was doing was we were providing services to schools to encourage sportsmanship and fitness within the students.
Wow.
So the product was, it was a tech product. The product was, we would go along with our, physiotherapist, our PT teachers and coaches, who would run battery of physical test on the students.
Wow.
And then using those physical tests to measure the kids' agility, speed, endurance, stamina. Wow, I still remember stuff. Wow.
See, it's ingrained within you, my man.
So,
your journey is always there.
I'm surprised.
Right.
So we would conduct the battery of test on the kids and then input those results in the software which we created. And then that software would print out the report card for each child. So just like there's an academic report card for a child,
got it.
Using our product, schools can create sports and fitness report card for the child.
Wow.
So the idea was to inculcate competition. Just like India has a lot of pressure on academic level, we wanted kids to feel pressure related to sports and fitness as well.
Right.
And that is why we created a report card around it, which had national level rankings, which had school level rankings, which had district level rankings. And on the basis of these tests, we would basically recommend kids on what kind of diet chart they should follow, on the things which they are missing, what kind of exercises they should do, and what kind of sports they should be more, more involved with to use their strengths better.
Got it. So it's basically a mixture of your stats and your, whatever gifts you were given to harness, and then whatever varsity team they can.
Correct.
And what age do you start getting measured on?
So we started that from the 6th grade till 10th grade, because 11th and 12th there's just too much of pressure in India for kids to study.
Okay.
So we did that from grade 6 till grade 10.
Got
So our services, it was a SaaS product to schools where we would go to schools and say that, hey, if you don't need the trainers and the coaches, we are fine. This is the services, and you can pay us per user, pay us per child who's using the product.
And what happened with that startup? Did it grow? How long did you do that for?
So it was a very, very hard startup for us to work in. The irony of the situation was that since me and my friends from IIT, we started that together. We would go to the schools, and schools would say that, hey, you are from the top college. Why don't you create a product for maths or science? Why are you creating a product for sports and fitness?
Right. Okay.
So it was a hard sell because India is an academic oriented country.
Super.
We knew it from day one that it's going to be a hard sell.
Right.
But we just wanted to follow our passion and try to change things which actually make an impact. So, we try to convince a lot of principals and the directors of the school.
Right.
And India is not a small country. India has millions of schools.
Yep.
So I personally must have touched about 2,000 schools over the period of next year and a half to 2 years, where I personally met about 2,000 odd principals. Telling them about the value this can bring in, not just in terms of value for the kids, but also monetarily the value it can bring into the school, because school is providing alternate kind of services and extracurricular activities to the kids.
Correct.
So the product was sold pretty well. We started working in around 200 odd schools, and our revenues were touching somewhere around I would say $500,000 a year.
What? Wow. Now, and was this bootstrapped by default?
It was all bootstrapped.
Wow.
It was all
That's
bootstrapped.
crazy.
We were profitable. However, the problem which we ran into was the team started splitting. People
Yeah.
had bigger ambitions.
Life happens.
So we exactly. So we were 5 co-founders.
Right.
I was one of the main founders, and then we had 4 other people who were co-founders.
Okay.
And we took so many schools from different parts of the India. It was spread all across.
Right.
Because of which, when the team split, we just couldn't handle the operations. And however, it was a good exit because
You exited still, right?
this is a surprising part.
Right.
The king of Jordan
The king of Jordan.
approached our company saying that he would want to incorporate the same services in the Jordan.
What?
He sent his representative to India,
Right.
and he paid us a good amount of cash
Wow.
to take our product and copyright that in Jordan, and
Okay.
it's still running in Jordan. It's still running in all the schools.
So
in
there
Jordan.
is a validation. It's just not in your home country.
Correct.
Right. So that's great.
So
Wow.
basically, right now, India Khelo does not operate in India, but
Right.
India Khelo operates in Jordan even till now.
It's the other side of the region. Now, Prashant, after that, was it straight Near Group?
No. Then I have another startup, which my brothers already started a company while I was running Near
Okay.
Group.
Okay.
So my brother started something called as easemytrip.com.
Is my trip?
Is my
okay.
trip. Basically, it's an OTA, online travel agency.
Okay.
So while I was running while I was running India Kilo, my brother started this company,
Okay.
Is My Trip. So my obvious step was to basically join them.
Right.
They are my 2 younger brothers. We are a real family. So I thought that I'll join them and see what can we do. And it's a crazy ride for Is My
Right,
Trip as
right.
well. Is My Trip is right now India's 4th largest travel company,
Wow.
doing business of $250 million a year.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
It's still bootstrapped. It's
crazy,
It's
dude.
owned by 3 brothers. And,
So you're still part of it, but you're no longer actively.
I am not actively
Okay.
working in it, but
Okay.
yes, I'm still there to help out.
Then after that, Near Group was born.
Yes.
Okay, now let's take a break because when we talk about Near Group, we'll be dissecting what you guys do and how you were able to grow that to a crazy, crazy good habit. How Filipinos found you. Also, more of that after the break. Hey, hustlers, let's talk about something really important real quick. Something that a lot of you I know can relate to, especially if you're running a business. And I'm talking about payroll. You know how hard it is and time consuming this is, especially that you have to do it twice a month. And as a guy who's been running tech startups for over 10 years now, this is something that I did not enjoy doing at all. It's not like it's because I don't like paying my employees. No, but it's already hard looking for funding to fund for your payroll, and then it's so much more harder if you're doing this manually. Luckily, I've found something that I highly recommend that you try. And it's from our friends from Payroll Hero. And here's how Payroll Hero works. They use your employee's face as your primary biometric to avoid buddy punching and ghost employees. So unless your team can figure out a way to swap each other's faces, tracking time and performance will never be your problem again. Payroll Hero is also very consumer friendly because it's also based on web and mobile, and it's also cloud-based, so you never have to worry about your clunky old biometric machines. So now you can automate time, attendance, scheduling, HRIS, and a payroll platform wrap all in one. We have a very special bonus for you hustlers listening on the Hustle Share podcast. All you need to do is go to www.payrollhero.ph and use the promo code HustleShare to get a 60-day free trial. That's technically 4 payrolls that you can do all for free, so you can see how it works for you. And the beauty about it is there's no upfront payment needed to do this. So never worry about payroll again. With Payroll Hero, optimizing work productivity with happiness. And we're back from the break. We're still with Prashant Pitti, the founder of Near Group. And now, after discovering your crazy run, my goodness, my jaw's on the floor. I'm still at awe. How old are you now, Prashant?
I'm 34.
Dude, at 34, now you have 2 mega apps. But before the break, you mentioned how we got here. Near Group was the big bomb that you dropped in the world. How did you come up with the idea of Near Group, and how did you develop that?
So while running Ease My Trip along with my brothers, this is year 2015.
Yep.
I want to say, just running a good startup.
Right.
Involved in it like crazily. So all of a sudden, I developed a hobby of running a marathon.
A marathon.
Yes. So I started with a 5K, 10K, half a marathon, then a marathon, and so it just got. I just got a little bit crazier about it, and
Right.
during those days, I thought it'd be great if I could find somebody to run along with me. My brothers won't move their ass even if there's an earthquake.
I'm one of your brothers. Like, nope, I'm stay here, right? I'll eat rendang all day. What's that?
And friends were like, we could do 1 kilometer or two. We're
Yeah.
not going to run 25 kilometer every day.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's extreme. Yeah.
So-
25 kilometers is like a whole commute for people already.
So it went to this crazy where, if I would see a guy running around my area, I would stop the car, I would run along with him, I would put my card in his pocket and ask him to call me.
What?
My
Okay.
wife was saying I was checking out guys more than girls in those days.
Wow. That was creepy. I'll
Yeah,
just be honest.
It was
Okay.
creepy, yes, I
Right.
agree on that. And that's why I thought that let's create some non-creepiness out of it.
Okay.
So that's how the word Near Group came into the life, where I wanted to create a product by which you can talk to people nearby you
Got it.
and create your own group. So it started as a hobby, and it was just an experiment, just like Profoundly was.
Right.
Never thought that it would go that far. But
Yeah.
as it started going really, really fast,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I had to give all my time to it, and I took a break from Ease My Trip. And
Absolutely.
I've been on break since even till now.
So you're still on extended leave with your brothers.
Yeah.
But Prashant, how did that turn into a dating app? Because, you said Near Group, now you're looking for running mates technically, right? How did that turn to now? Because I've encountered something similar, and pardon me if I had to bring this up. Omegle, right? Omegle is like this chat app that
Correct.
that kids actually, specifically kids, chat with random people.
Correct.
Right, and whatnot. I see that on 9gag, on Reddit, people talking about it and whatnot. But how did it turn into a dating specific app?
So basically, it was the numbers which drove us to where we are right now.
Okay.
It was not a concentrated effort that we want to remain this or that. It just the users twisted the product in the way they wanted, and we went with the flow. So to give you an idea about, since you mentioned Omegle,
Right.
Omegle is also an app by which you can chat anonymously.
Right.
But Omegle does not have profiles of people.
Yeah, it's so random.
Correct. So
Yeah.
Near Group matches people on the basis of their preferences.
Got it.
And Near Group has profile picture, which is given by Facebook. Near Group has name. Near Group has your details. Near Group has your gender.
Wow.
So we fetch all this information from Facebook, and we
Okay.
connect to people on the basis of what they're looking for. And on the basis of that, you chat with people, and then the images and the information unblur. So
Got it.
we call Near Group as hidden chats, not anonymous chats, because your profiles are hidden in
Got
the
it.
beginning,
Right,
but
right.
they automatically unblur after some time.
Got it. After you've unlocked it. But this is the key thing that I'm very, very impressed with what you've done, because you started this on a messenger platform where chatbots were very, very new to the world. But you just basically broke all stigma or any kind of whatever that because people, when chatbots were born, again, just coming from experience, people were like, that's nothing, that's just a fad, that's just whatever.
Right.
But you grew that to 20 million, correct? For
20 million users, yes.
without spending a goddamn thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If that doesn't tell you something, then you're building a mobile app where you'd be happy with 10,000 users spending $1 million, whereas in a messenger app where you can get to 20 mil without spending anything, there's something in there. How were you able to identify that opportunity?
So it wasn't actually very difficult to see. The numbers were telling the story. Right now, Near Group does 1 billion message exchange per month.
What?
And the entire Facebook platform does 8 billion. So
What?
That's
That's crazy.
near group 1 billion message exchange per month. And as per the Facebook, in their F8, they recently shared. Oh no, sorry, their recent mode numbers are more than that.
Right. But this is 2018. Yeah, I
Yes,
remember.
yes,
right.
this is 2018.
I
So
was
their
in
recent
F8
numbers are
that
more.
time,
I
right.
don't know their recent numbers now.
Right.
So, but yes, there's a good portion of near group, in the entire Facebook chatbot gamut. So we just hit the right use case, and then it was just the job of people to spread the word.
Right.
95% of our users come via like word of mouth, not like shared on Facebook or Twitter, but word of mouth, where people tell their
Literally, there's no you didn't scheme it out in terms of sharing and virality and whatnot.
So we tried. And be honest, we put a lot of hooks by which people would share.
Yep.
But that's just the 5% people who come to us.
Wow.
95% people who come to us. We are right now gaining 1 million new user per month, of which 95% people are coming just purely and purely via word of mouth, not because
These
of
are
our
the
hooks.
people they're talking about it over work, over lunch, over whatever.
It's over school, over university, over work. It's so to share some statistics why Near Group works really well. So Tinder, for that matter, is also a dating app, right?
Right.
So the official statistics by Tinder are that if you do 1,000 swipes, you get 16 matches.
Wow, really? That's
This is the official.
So guys, do you know your sets now? 1,000 swipe rights, you'll get 16 on an average.
That's the average. So, and the average for, I'm sure for countries, developing countries like India and Philippines would be lower, and for the
Oh
developed
man,
countries would be
that's the hard truth right there.
So
Okay.
for Tinder, the official stats are that for 1,000 swipes, you get 16 matches, which means 1.6% people mutually like each other, right?
Okay.
That's the fact.
That's sad.
That's the fact.
Yeah.
Now, at Near Group, when we connect two people to chat with, and they chat long enough and they see each other's images.
Right.
Now, I'm not claiming to say that Near Group only has good-looking people, right? We have average.
Come on, you can
yeah.
say that. So your users will feel pretty.
So at Near Group, when two people see each other's images,
Right.
77% of the time people continue the conversation.
Wow.
77% of the time people do not disconnect. So that means the likability has increased from 1.6% to 77% because you put chat before the image.
Got it. So that reverse engineering part of it really works, and you know your math. You climbed that. So at the end of the day, that's crazy.
So 77, I'm not saying that 77% of the time you find the date, but you just don't want to disconnect because the images were average. You want to make new friends. You want to see if it can lead
Yes.
somewhere. So people say to each other, that, hey, I might not be attracted towards you, but hey, we could be friends, right? So
Got it. But in terms of, here's one part that a lot of apps struggle: retention. For you guys to grow that much and retain, you must be doing something right. Is it the hook of meeting new people near you? Is that it?
So word of mouth would not spread if people were not using it repeatedly.
Got it.
If
If it's a one night thing.
If it's a one day thing, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be spreading the word of mouth.
Absolutely.
So we are growing because our retentions are high, not the otherwise. So our basically once you sign up, after 1 month, 65% people continue using it. So that's, for people who know the industry, who know the
Got
dating
it.
industry or gaming industry, they would know that this is actually a very significantly high number.
Absolutely. And in terms of UX, were you very particular about how people went through? Did it gradually change over time?
It is always changing. We are very close to the ground. The reason I'm in Philippines is basically, we are creating these meetups between the users and us to ask them about the changes, the new changes which we have made, or the changes which we have made in past.
Wow.
So we are very close to the ground. We understand what problem people are facing, and product keeps evolving along with that. However, yes, if I have to admit, the initial UI or UX was pretty cumbersome because
Yeah.
you're creating an app within a chatbot.
Correct.
And
you're
people-
limited, right?
Correct. So to give you a sense of it, sometimes over engineering is a bad thing, and this is how I would explain that in Near Group. So at Near Group, we put a lot of NLP in the beginning. We put a lot of NLP where whatever you write, we would understand that what sentiments you are in,
Okay.
and we would connect you with somebody.
Right.
But the problem which we realized very soon was that at Near Group, you chat with you chat with two kinds of things. You chat with the bot and you chat with the people, right?
Right.
So people were getting confused if they were chatting with the bot or actual human being because of our
Yes.
NLP. So we had to undo our NLP work and
Right.
make it more bot when we are chatting with the machine. So that people understand that right now you're chatting with a machine and right now you're chatting with another human on the other side.
Got it. Because if it's too similar, it's very confusing.
It's confusing. We did over engineering on that part, and later on we realized that people are hating it because people don't understand. Are we the ones who are faking it on the other side?
Got it. Right. So it didn't add to the credibility. Now, I'm very curious about your next big hit. So if I would use analogies here, Avengers Infinity War was near group. And then you hit us with an end game on Profoundly. Where, holy crap, 60 million in 3 months.
Yes.
How did you do this, and how did Profoundly come to life?
So
Did
profoundly,
you snap like a Thanos? Like, all right, I got the Infinity Gauntlet.
I actually did something even more crazier.
Okay, I hope you did not run after people again. So, what did you do at this time?
So we had some basic idea of what experiment we wanted to do.
Okay.
But this experiment we did not run on a chatbot platform, but we ran on instant game platform within the
Instant
Facebook
game, right?
So
These are the ones that you see that you play with. What's that?
OMG.
Yeah, and OMG and
Correct,
whatnot and all that stuff.
So Facebook has primarily two big platforms for
Right.
developers to make product. One is a chatbot and the other one is instant game.
Right.
So again, I thought that it's good time. Near Group is growing comfortably.
Right.
It's a good time to re-experiment things.
Okay.
So we had a very, very basic but very, very solid hypothesis, which is that if people want to chat anonymously with people nearby, there must be so many reasons for which people want to chat anonymously with their friends.
Yes, and ask them really, really tough questions that they cannot ask face to face.
Absolutely.
Right.
So with that hypothesis, we created a product called as Profoundly in February 2019 on instant game platform.
Okay.
So when you play Profoundly, we would show you the list of friends who are using Profoundly because that's the list we get from the Facebook.
Right.
And then you can choose to send anonymous message to any one of them.
Okay.
So the Profoundly, the only part wasn't just anonymously messaging your friends, but also we created an anonymous Facebook within Profoundly. So what it was is that you can write your anonymous thoughts. It's like anonymous feeds.
Yes.
So Profoundly has two sections. One is basically anonymous messaging and one is anonymous feeds.
Okay.
So you could create your feed on Profoundly, which your Facebook friends will read and can respond back to you.
Right.
However, this time they don't know who created that feed. So it's anonymous. It's an anonymous feed. But the twist is, when your Facebook friends reply back to you, it's a private reply. This time you would know who replied. So you created anonymous thought. Let's say you created a thought, and people usually create thoughts about the worries or the problems they're facing in their life because you cannot create those posts on Facebook. Facebook has become an image management platform.
Correct.
So you only post good things about your life on Facebook.
Yes, it's all humble brags, and
It's
that's
all
why.
humble brags.
Yeah, correct.
So at Profoundly, people would write their problems, their miseries, their issues,
Yep.
their fuck ups,
Right.
and their Facebook friends would reply back to them. And this time you would know who replied back. So let's say I write something about my fuck up, and you decide to reply back, not knowing who wrote that.
Right.
I would know that Ronster wrote that for me, and I can come back to you separately and say, "Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing your
Appreciate
advice."
that. Right. Okay, that's great. So this is a real social value to it, a social responsibility to it. Now you said you did something crazy. What was that crazy thing that you did?
No, actually, it was just we created Profoundly, and I wasn't expecting too much from it.
Okay.
To be honest, in the beginning, it was just an experiment.
Right.
And the crazy thing which I did was basically for a self-development.
Okay.
We uploaded Profoundly on 9th of February 2019.
Yeah, this year.
This year, and around 24th of February 2019, I left for Nepal to
Wow.
meditate for 10 days. So
10 days.
I left
You went
my-
up the mountain,
right up the mountain in a monastery.
right? Up the Rotang Pass. if that's because I saw this on History Channel. It's like
So-
when you cross the India to Nepal, there's this crazy road that you have to go through.
Correct.
Right.
So I left my phone at home. I left my laptop at home. I just meditated 9 hours every day for 10 days without knowing what's happening back home. And
Wow.
the day I landed, I called back my team member and they said, "You would not believe what happened." I'm like, "What?" They said,
And
"We're
you're
getting-"
just like, what? A nonchalant what? Yeah.
So they told me that we are getting 500,000 new user per day. I'm like, "You must be joking. There
Right.
must be some bug in the
Right,
system."
right.
You cannot. I mean, 500,000 per day seems unreal and unrealistic. I said that, "Are you sure? Can you just double check? Are they not bots? Are they real people?"
Yeah.
They said, "No, all the statistics are gone crazy and we are having really hard time managing the AWS." And
Right. The infrastructure back end, that is expensive.
Yes, we
Right.
was at the peak of Profoundly, we were spending $2,000 per day
What the hell?
on AWS.
And I hope you had credits, because if
Yes.
not, if you did not have credits,
We ran out of credits on Near Group itself, so no, we actually put in money.
oh my goodness.
$2,000 per day is what we were spending at the peakest of it.
Wow, but profoundly, right? What was that like when you now saw that 20 million per month? The 20 million that you got in 2 years, you got that in a month. What was this? What was that like? And because did you use the same engine as Near Group to spiral it out and whatnot?
So we had the solid technology, right, because of the Near Group. So things were very smooth in that sense. However, if you see, both the products are very different.
Right.
Near Group is another product altogether, and Profoundly is a different product.
Got it.
And to be honest, Near Group, as I said, that out of 20 million users, 15 million are from Philippines for Near Group. But for
Right.
Profoundly, out of 60 million people, around 45 to 50 million people are in US. So it's much bigger in US than in Philippines.
Really?
In
Wow, that's
Flam.
interesting.
So the virality we got for Profoundly was from US, then Philippines, then Vietnam. So first US happened for us. So the time you got to see Profoundly, it was already happening in US, and it's
Got
still
it.
growing pretty strong in US right
Absolutely. And then that's great. Now, Prashant, let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, let's share your tips. Because, again, this is no fluke. If you do it twice with those numbers, I've never met anyone in my life with that numbers just nonchalantly being thrown at me. I'm getting goosebumps right now hearing those numbers. But let's pay it forward. Those people that want to do it, maybe they need to meditate in Nepal too or somewhere. But let's do that more after the break.
Effective automation is the best way for businesses to stay competitive. And having a chatbot for your business lets you easily automate and optimize sales, marketing, and customer service in the digital age. Chatbot PH will build, train, maintain, and market your chatbot across all messaging platforms. Our team uses the latest AI technologies to enable you to better serve customers 24/7, 365. Set a meeting with us today. Message us now at m.me/chatbotph.
And we're back for the final part. If you're not blown away yet at this part, you're about to get blown away even more. Because, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So, Prashant, real quick, I'm curious because you mentioned that both Near Group and Profoundly had a pretty big chunk of Filipino users. What's it about Filipino users that's unique that makes your product successful?
So I think it's a combination of various things. Philippines being one of the top social media countries, one of the top social media consumers. I could
Right.
probably even say the top social media
It is.
consumer
It
per
is.
capita.
Yeah, social media capital of the world. We're
World,
proud of that. But it's a double-edged sword. We can be social media capital of the world and say stupid shit, the dumbest shit in the world, but also, make amazing things like this happen. Right.
So basically, on the basis of that, since we were our both the apps were running on Facebook,
Right.
Philippines had to be in it. There was no other way. Philippines had to be in it, and since the product itself was designed that way, that we are not available on WhatsApp, we are not available on other products, and which countries are heavy on Messenger, which countries are heavy on Facebook.
Right.
So it's Vietnam, Philippines, US, UK, France for that matter. So it's also a matter of design as what it is. But yes, I mean, people in Philippines love us and we love them back.
And you said you're here because primarily you wanted to meet them, right?
Yes.
When you meet with these people, how's it like? What's their feedback when they tell you that they, hey, I love your product and whatnot?
So behind all those, fan followings of, it changed my life and whatnot, I'm over here to get the real meaningful, feedback.
Yeah.
So you have to read between the lines. What I have observed so far is that Filipinos are the sweetest people in the world, and they have really hard time telling the problems they are facing. So it's a lot of sugarcoating in what they say. It's a lot of, you have to really get them to do the real talking. So
like lead them to it.
Lead them to
Right,
it. So
right.
keep asking why and how and what.
Eventually you'll break the wall.
Correct.
Right.
So so I spent a lot of time doing that, and this is my second trip in the last 2 years.
Yep. I remember the first trip you were in Makati. I didn't get to meet you, and then a week after I saw you in Echelon. Like, oh, what's up? Right.
So this is my second trip to Philippines, and usually, we do a session between 15 to 20 people at a time.
That's a big group.
And it's usually between 2 to 3 hours. And that is why, we had a lot of, bouncing
back and
off
forth,
all the time,
right.
because I am also not sure how long will that last.
No problem. And I appreciate your time doing this because, again, the hustle here, for those people who don't know how hard it got to this, it's now. Let's talk about the hard stuff.
All right.
Right? You mentioned building a product. I mean, it's easy to build a product as an MVP. Okay, fine. Fake it till you make it kind of thing. But both of these products went viral literally overnight. And that was not a fluke. There's intention to this. Mm-hmm. What would be your tip for people building products built to scale?
So my first tip would be to be where users are. And then later on, you can take it forward to wherever you want to be. Once you get people's attention, you can direct them to wherever you wish them to be. For example, for both Nia Group and Profoundly, we have our own app now.
Right.
It was also part of the reason why we have our own app was basically Facebook told us that there are certain things which they would not like to be run on their platform.
Okay.
Their concern was we have built Profoundly on a platform called as Instant Game.
Got it.
However, Profoundly is not a game; it's an app. So they told us to take a lot of part away of Profoundly from the Instant Game platform.
I would understand why, because of the Cambridge Analytica thing that happened that flew under the radar.
And
before.
I agree. I understand that too. And there's no hard feelings from Facebook side.
Absolutely.
But they can see that we were growing 3 million new users per
Yes.
day. So they were bound to be worried.
Absolutely.
And also it was also a very logical point from their perspective that it's an instant game platform, and what we have developed is not a game, it's an app in itself. So they told us to take the Profoundly away, and because of which a lot of Filipinos who are listening right now or who will be listening to this podcast would relate that they hated Profoundly taken away from Facebook. But we have our own app, and it's trending. It's topping the charts on both Android and iOS.
So it's not the end of the world, guys. You can still download it as a standalone app now on iOS and Google Play.
So we still have instant game of Profoundly, but it's not as meaningful as what it was before for people. So the best experience you could get is basically by downloading the app, and we are getting between 500,000 to 1 million download a day. From right for our app. So people are giving us the same amount of love. It's just that many users were heartbroken by seeing Profoundly go away overnight. But this is an information for the listeners that
now when things change like that so suddenly, and I can just imagine the type of stress you had to go through just to make sure that the thing is holding up, and now you have to change platforms. What would be your advice for those people who go to firefight like this? This is not easy, my man.
Oh, this was not easy. I still remember those transition 10 days. The entire team didn't go home. We ate at our desk. We slept at our desk. We shitted in our office.
That's fine. Just so hopefully not on your desk.
Not on the desk.
Okay.
But the entire team didn't leave office for 1 minute for 10 days. We had to come up with an app overnight, and we did come up overnight. And that too, it wasn't an experimental app where it could go crash fine. We knew that people will be using it, so we had to make sure that it's got very little bug and it can handle the scale. So it was a very different kind of development which we had to do, but we got to do what we got to do. So we stayed up, and we had a small team. We are only a team of 10 people.
10 people servicing
together.
60 million, and on
60 plus
profoundly
20.
80 million people.
80 million people.
Holy gosh!
So it's a small team, and we had to develop some skills, not just create the app, but even develop new skills to create an app. So it was done all overnight in the matter of 8 or 9 days, but it's paying off. Hard work. There's no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute to being persistent, and nothing could take away from that.
That is the most amazing thing I've heard and whatnot. But before I just zone out and be like, holy crap and whatnot. But how would you advise scaling? Because again, I have a question right before you answer that. Are you still bootstrapped till now?
No, we raised money. We
raised money now. Okay.
We
I remember last year you were...
No, we raised money even then.
Prior,
so,
right.
We raised $1.6 million in the seed round.
Yep.
These are the investors, very, very supportive, very understanding
Yes.
investors who are based in Silicon Valley and Helsinki.
Right. Oh,
So-
Poland.
Yeah.
Oh, no, is it Poland?
It's Finland.
Finland, sorry. There's a land, so I got the land part. So Helsinki, Finland, right? And they're both under the same company. Both
Yes.
Profoundly and...
So Nia Group and Profoundly, they both are part of Nia Group Inc., which is the main company.
Got it. So, wow, 2 products. And what? How do you now prepare for scaling like this? Because again, you said you went to Nepal thinking that it was just going to be Nia Group as your main baby. You went back, you have a big Godzilla in front of you. How do you prepare for that? I mean, you can never... I can always say that you can never prepare, but you must have done something to prepare for it.
So the base was right. We knew how Nia Group has scaled, and we knew what kind of things we should set up for
Right.
Profoundly. So even though we were not expecting much from Profoundly, we just still applied the same learnings what we learned at Nia Group.
Got
So
it.
that is why we were able to protect Profoundly even in the times when 8 million simultaneous people were using it. There was a time when 8 million simultaneous users were there on Profoundly.
Whew, that's crazy.
So we were able to run the show because the product was set on the right base, and
Right.
we could only get that right base because of Nia Group experience. If there were no Nia Group, Profoundly would have broken and the virality would have stopped many times before.
And thank God for AWS. But for that. Lastly, Prashant, 2 questions next. What you mentioned about fuck ups, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are for this crazy journey that you're in? And this is, I'm happy because I got to talk to you now, because I'm pretty sure this is not the end. You're gonna do more amazing things, and I'd like to congratulate you in advance.
Thank you.
But what were your biggest fuck ups here in this journey so far?
I could talk about how were we managing a big fuck up.
Okay, all right.
So,
how do you manage a big fuck up?
Big
All
fuck
right.
up. So at Profoundly, many of the listeners could relate that there were shitloads of rumors all across that Profoundly would reveal the identity
Yes, I remember my employee telling me
of
this.
people
Right.
after 48 hours or after 30 days.
Yes.
So as we are growing, and then the virality is also stopping because people are spreading the rumor,
Right, right.
which is that we would reveal the identity after 48 hours or at the end of the month and whatnot. So, and this was not happening just in Philippines. This was happening
Everywhere,
worldwide. Whichever
right.
country we would grow, after 3 or 4 days, we would start seeing a dip down, and the dip was always and always because people would spread the rumor that Profoundly would release the information
Yeah.
after a couple of days. We got to the bottom of, firstly, we lost actually a couple of countries because we didn't even know that the rumors were spreading. These
Wow.
countries basically was Myanmar and Bangladesh.
Okay.
They speak their own language, and none of our team members understood that language, so we didn't understand what happened.
Right, right.
The countries peaked, and then after 2 days,
Boom.
both the countries crashed.
Wow.
These countries crashed, and we couldn't realize what's happening. So we hired a local person in both the countries to understand, and they told us, "Oh, it was obvious, aren't you going to release the information after 2 days?" And that's why people are
So
not
in this
using
day
it.
and age, 2019, rumor mongering can still be.
You would not believe how hard it is to stop the rumors. For example, we identified the key people who were spreading the rumors.
Right.
These people, regular people, who when they post on their Facebook, they get like 2 or 3 shares or 1 or 2 likes,
Right,
10,
right.
15 likes. These regular people, when they would spread the rumors related to Profoundly,
Right.
and they would do a little bit smartly. They would use our logo and our style, writing style, and create fake images.
Man.
So they created fake images, they created fake videos, and they posted on their Facebook. 20,000 shares.
Fake news.
Fake news. 20,000 shares, 25,000
Shit.
shares. And when we would call them out, we would message them saying that, hey, what you're doing is not right. This is fake. You have
Right,
created
right,
this content
right.
and you're sharing it. Like, we are not talking about the ones who shared it. We are talking about the ones who
Yeah, the
created
source.
it, the source.
Yeah.
So we would reach out to them and tell them that you need to take your content down.
Yeah.
Many of them would take their content down, and we would ask them to write another clarification post, which is that they did this only out of fun.
Oh,
Their clarification would only go 10 shares, 15 shares.
No.
So negativity spreads, rumor spreads much faster than the correct
This
information.
is
We could
Black
see that
Mirror shit right here.
we could see it firsthand, where
God.
so the only thing which we were doing in those days was just firefighting these rumors. We
Yeah.
would just be seated on our system. The servers were taken care of, the product
Right,
was doing
right.
all right. So even the tech team, this is what the tech team was doing. They were just
Right.
searching for people who were spreading the rumors, who were the
My
source in various
gosh.
countries, in Philippines, in Vietnam, in US, in other countries, and then reaching out to them, telling them to take the post down. And once they take the post down, the other
So-
people who shared
Right.
can see that this content is not available, so they understood that was not the right thing.
Right.
Anyways.
But some people can be very gullible that they think that, oh, that's true. and
Oh,
whatnot.
not just that they're gullible. Like, if 10 different sources are sharing a same image
Yeah.
of saying that we would release the information after 2 days, I completely understand why people could be gullible in this
Yeah.
side.
How did you cope with that then?
It was this is how we did it. We stayed up all night and we messaged these people telling them to take the post down, putting a lot of clarification on our own page,
Yeah.
letting people know that this is not what we do. And we
Right.
can also understand where it might have stemmed up from, because our other company, Near Group,
Okay.
allows you to connect with people nearby, and after
Makes
10
sense.
15 minutes we automatically reveal the identity.
Ah.
So maybe people were taking it as a cue that we do it in Near Group, we might be doing it in Profoundly as well. So
Okay.
it's not completely their fault, and we just had to firefight.
So at least now people who are listening, if my employees are listening and you're still using Profoundly, it's safe. You're safe in there. They're not doing this for what that. The fact that are you running ads on both platforms? And
No, there's zero advertisements
See?
on. There's zero
Right?
advertisements on
They're
both
not
the platforms.
gonna just narc you out at all, right? Whatever you're sharing there is safe, and I'm here to vet Prashant myself,
Great,
right?
thank
He's
you.
not that type of dude and whatnot. Now, Prashant, for last question, for those people who want to start companies and whatnot, again, jumping from corporate to whatnot, what would be your advice? Because this is not easy. Again, I don't know anybody else who's done it with this scale with this time. It's just so fast. What would be your advice for people just that want to follow suit?
People have to see that, Profoundly and Near Group did not happen just after I left my job. It's a matter of 8 years in between. So my biggest advice to anybody who's looking to start a company is, don't do it for the fashion. Don't do it for the sake of it, or if you want to be your own boss. It's just the opposite. Like, we both can relate to it. If you run a startup, you have so many bosses. You must have read it at a million places, but I'm over here to reiterate.
Right.
It's not easy. And if you're doing it for the fashion, if you're doing it for the sake of fandom and other things, or for the money, the perseverance will wear out very soon.
Yeah.
And as the perseverance will wear out, you will start questioning yourself that why did I do it at the first place.
Right.
So do it only if you really, really can survive for a handsome amount of years.
Yep.
Number one. And do it only if you really, really feel the cause and need to do it. Otherwise, no matter what kind of intelligence or skills one might possess, just the perseverance and the grit can never be substituted.
Absolutely. Amen. So again, Prashant, for those people that just want to check out Near Group and Profoundly, what do they need to do?
So just go on your Facebook or download both the apps. On Facebook you search Near Group, you search Profoundly, you'll find them very easily and try the product. And if you have any feedback, you can reach back to me.
Yep.
At my email address prashant@neargroup.me.
Yep.
PRASHANT.
Yep.
@neargroup.me.
Yep, we'll have that on the show notes and all the other links that Prashant will have also shared in this episode. Again, Prashant, thank you very much
Thank you
for
so
this. This is I knew it was going to be a hit, and just by listening to it now, this is going to be one of the best episodes on Hustle Share.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me over. I really appreciate it.
Again, thank you. And for guys that want to give feedback and suggest any other hustler on the show, please message us on our own chatbot at m.me/hustleshare, powered by ChatbotPH. Again, Prashant, thank you. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.